I do want to try to. I want to be careful about this, but I very, very much want to try to make these devlogs monthly. Have one out every month, kind of show you what I'm working on, keep that inspiration, that spirit of inspiration going.
So, I am thinking I'm a bit cursed because I've tried to do a devlog a few times, and every single time something has gone wrong with it. This most recent time, I went through the whole thing, showing off some of the tools I use for making my games, stuff that's not really replicatable. Turns out it wasn't recording, so I lost the whole thing. So now, I'm going to try to stay calm and quickly go through the stuff I just showed off again, and hopefully this devlog will come out okay still. To start with, I have still been working on Circle of Orion. I've been working on it as much as I can. Thing is, I've also been working on another game called The Fantastic Kitty Roo, which is a mix of a point-and-click adventure and a rhythm game. That is coming out on December 15th, and for those of you who have played Mariposa and the Galaxy Man, this is actually set in the same universe, following a different character. So, if that at all sounds like something you might be interested in, by all means, go to Steam, wishlist it, check it out. Yeah, and that's coming out mid-December, December 15th. Now, as for my work on Circle of Orion, I have put out some stuff regarding this already, but one of the things I've been trying to focus on a lot is how I'm going to create all the content for this game kind of as quickly as I need to. Now, in order to do that, I'm essentially needing stuff that can create me a bunch of placeholder assets really quickly, like towns, character models, character portraits, enemies, all that sort of stuff. Now, you can find a lot of stuff on the marketplace, but one, that only goes so far, and two, a lot of it can get pretty pricey. And now I have a big backlog of stuff I can still use, but for things like making towns and whatnot, I needed to use other tools. So there's three tools and three things I wanted to focus on right now for this devlog that I use for creating content quickly. Creating towns with Townscaper, creating character models with Vroid, and creating character portraits with NovelAI. So, to start off, towns are a pretty big part of RPGs. You'll be going to them a lot, and in my case, you'll be visiting a ton of different towns across the world. So I needed something that can build me a layout that feels kind of natural and organic really, really quickly. This is the first town you visit in the game, and I was actually able to get this whole thing made up in about, I'd say, 20 minutes. Really short amount of time by using a tool called Townscaper. So what Townscaper is, as it sounds, it's essentially just a tool for procedurally building towns. More of a toy and a relaxing sort of thing than an actual game. But as you can see in this video, you can get pretty complex and pretty detailed with it, and it's all done procedurally. So it's you can do stuff really, really quickly. So here I am in Townscaper, and I can just go ahead and get started and start drawing out kind of a town layout. And like I said, procedurally generated. All you got to do is click down, and it'll start procedurally building out a town environment for you. And there's plenty of videos that go over how to use this efficiently, how to get certain tricks and stuff. But yeah, this is kind of essentially all I do. I just let just sometimes even randomly click, let the mouse kind of just go where it will, build up, build sideways, kind of just do my thing, and it'll build me something that feels very, very organic. I think that's the thing I like about it. It feels very real, very kind of like it was built naturally. It's very easy to get that nice sort of look to it. And so here's one of the towns I made up, and if I want to import it into the game, I'd say I'm at a point now where I'm kind of theoretically happy with this. So if I want to import it, all I got to do is click up here and do export OBJ and export it out here. Now I've already done this because I did it for the other devlog that failed, but going through it again. So I've exported it here as Demo Village. So now I'm back in Unreal Engine, and if I want to import that new temporary town mesh into my game, I will just find it wherever I placed it, drag it into my project, and import it normally. Now a couple things to note. I use these. It doesn't quite have the right rotation and scale automatically, so I like to set the scale to 400 and the import rotation to, at least the X on the rotation, to 90 degrees. So let me go and import it. Now if I go into Devlog Town, let's save this stuff, and I got the town right here. and it's about the right size I want. Now, it is, if you look at it, it is kind of the opposite of how it was in it's kind of flipped, reverse, from how it was in Townscaper. So to fix that, I'm going to go to the x-axis and just change that to -1. And now it's at the appropriate scale, which means if I try to play, whoop, whoop, I slide off. Well, that's because by default, the collision on it looks like this. So what I'm going to do is go into the actual object. I'm going to look up collision, and because there's few enough polygons on this, I'm going to change the collision from project default to use complex collision as simple. And what that does is it essentially matches the collision exactly to the polygons. So now, let me go back here, drop in. Hey, here we go, and I have this town to explore. And there's a few modifications I want to make, like if I want to get up here, I will add, you know, a ramp, because I can't really get up those stairs myself. Oops. Because they weren't, you know, intended for me to actually walk up them. So let me go ahead and toss up this ramp, maybe shorten it. I can get up here, and I probably should fix that for me to get down as well, but you get the idea. So now I have this really nice layout. Now, I don't really like this default material, so I actually created my own using a world position offset, or not world position offset, what is it? Well, that, but also world align textures as well. So now, if I open up materials, I have actually a few ones I can pick from, so I'll just grab this one, drop it on, and boom, now I have, not only do I have the town prototype, but it actually has a bit of a nice placeholder look to it. Where it's like, oh, okay, it's obviously not final, but it is sort of like, it's giving me a bit of a mood already, although that harsh lighting is hurting me, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. Let's grab the skylight, that's movable, make it 2, or 3, and that's also movable, so I don't know what that's all about, but hey, there you go. And it's a nice temporary town to work with. So that's how I create towns quickly. Next up is character models, because obviously I need a lot of those in this game. And I could use the default Unreal Engine for mannequin, but it lacks a lot of stuff. Primarily, it all looks the same. I don't get a good idea for like how these characters look contrasting with each other. And I don't have access to things like facial expressions or eye expressions that I might want to use in animation and get a good feel for the characters. Or I might want to set up the expression system that I can use in dialogue. So, for an approximation, I use a tool that I think a lot of you might probably already know about, and that is Vroid Studio. And this allows me to very quickly create these sort of anime-style characters that have everything I need in terms of like facial expressions and bones, and quickly pull them into game. So here I am in Vroid Studio. You can see I have a bunch of character models already here, made up. There's also the sample ones. Again, temporary placeholder, but yeah, it lets me, I can just go ahead and create a new one. In this case, I created this one, Devlog Girl. I made it before, and then the devlog did not record, so like I said, I have to do this all again. But I was able to, yeah, I gave her just a quick outfit, you know, head, hair, just enough to where it's like, all right, that's kind of a look. I just go to export as VRM. To export, and I can do the settings here and just do export, and I already have one exported right here, Devlog Girl VRM. Now, to import, Unreal Engine doesn't automatically let you import VRM files, so you are going to need to find another way to do that. And fortunately, there is a free tool you can get for importing Vroid characters directly into Unreal Engine, and that is this. It's called VRM4U. It's great, and like I said, it just pulls these guys directly in. Quick warning, it does seem to not, at least right now, the Unreal 4 version, doesn't like working with C++ stuff. It'll give you compiling issues, so what you'll have to do is, whenever you want to compile your code, you'll need to turn the plugin off until you compile it, then turn it back on. Which you can easily do from your C++ project, so it's not too much of an issue, but keep that in mind. But when that's done, using VRM, we can just drag our character right in here, our VRM file, and it gives us all these settings, and we can choose what skeleton we want to map it to, and obviously it essentially works like the normal skeletal mesh importer, but with some extra settings. This one's specifically for VRM. Now, I've already imported this character, so I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel, and if I open up our character mesh, you can see here she is. I got all the eye expressions I need, I got everything, and obviously, because I'm using the same VRM skeleton and they kind of all work together, if I look up Devlog Girl, I got her right here, and all my animations work on her automatically. Now this character, she's looking nice and all, but what if I wanted to have her in my game and have dialogue with her, have a conversation with her? Well, I would need a character portrait, because my game uses character portraits and dialogue. Now, I think I'm an okay artist, but let's say you're not. Or let's say, in my case, you want to make a ton of just placeholder character portraits that look kind of okay, and you don't really have the time to create them each in detail individually. Well, that is where tools like NovelAI come in. What NovelAI is, for those of you who don't know, it's essentially a website that uses AI machine learning to essentially look throughout the internet at a bunch of different anime art and essentially generate you characters or images based on a series of inputs. Likely a lot of you are familiar with this AI generated art process. Now, I am aware there's a lot of talk and concern right now about the whole AI generation stuff, whether it be the legality, whether it be the principle or the practicality of using it in games and stuff. And I don't want to dismiss anyone's concerns over that or put down that conversation. I'll just say for right now, what I really like about this is I think it's really superb for generating concepts or prompts or placeholder stuff. Not necessarily final stuff. I'm not necessarily a fan of it using it for final art, but for using placeholder, or in my case, what I like to do is take my sketches, toss them into the NovelAI, and then clean them up. I think that's the type of thing it's perfect for. So here I have a super quick character sketch I did of our Devlog girl. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that, toss it into the AI generator, and as you can see, I already have a ton of prompts already put in here, because like I said, I did some of this stuff earlier. So what I'm going to do is now you can just put in these prompts, like I have young female, dark navy hair, short ponytail, red china dress, and a shy smile. I thought that kind of captures what I'm going for. And then I will just start generating. Ooh, that's a nice one. And that is too. Seeing it's already given me some very nice clean results. And they are, what you can also do, something you can do though is if you feel like, well, this is a little too far from my original intent, you can take this strength, scale it down. The closer it is to 0, the closer it'll try to get it to your original image. So let's say 0.57. Yeah, let's dress a few up. Ooh, that one's cute. Another thing is if you want to try and do it in a specific style, like Persona 5, my placeholder for a lot of stuff, you can just toss that input in and then do generate. And boom, we got something that's kind of Persona 5-ish. So ultimately, I found it. So ultimately what I did is I came up with this one, and I decided I'd go with this. I like the overall look of it. I like the style. And it's good it's a nice, clean enough style. It gets across the expression that I want. So I went ahead and imported that in. I cleaned up the backgrounds in Photoshop and basically cut her out and brought it in. And now, since I've attached it to her character, let me go ahead and, using my own tools, let me go and drag in an NPC, an empty NPC. Let's say Devlog girl. There she is. And give her a dialogue. And when I drop it in here, and when I drop it in here and try to talk to her, oh, there you go. And yeah, so now we have her. She has dialogue, and we have a nice character portrait in. And it's a character portrait that's so nice that I think I want to actually have this girl in the game somehow. So, you get any suggestions for what her name or character or backstory or any of that stuff would be, feel free to shoot them at me, because, yeah, I really like how that came out. And so, and once again, principle, this stuff is nice. But I generally, this is all placeholder stuff. I fully would intend to, when I have the money, because that's the big issue, actually replace all this with final stuff or finalized art, finalized assets. But when you're prototyping, when you're concepting, it's incredibly, incredibly useful. And finally, for this devlog shout out, I want to give a shout out to Night's Watch. This is a sort of an action RPG developed in Unreal Engine 4, which I think is switching to Unreal Engine 5 as of the last update. It's being developed by Hydro Gaming, and it sort of comes off like a bit of a Skyrim type RPG, obviously a smaller scale. it's making good use of it's making good use of a ton of marketplace assets. I also find the story he has for it kind of interesting, where it's kind of this fantasy setting, but it appears that it's set in the far future from our own world, from our own modern time. So as if some sort of catastrophe has happened, but there's like remnants of our technology left. So yeah, if that sounds like or looks like the type of thing you'd enjoy, be sure to go get a watch and subscribe. All that said, thank you guys for being patient with me and for sticking around this long. I really, really appreciate it as always. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and you like the look of this, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.